painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the wheel is torn. I clutch in the ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you in a reoccurring nightmare where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him. Then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said, to be honest, you like a prophet. I said, stop it. He said, what made you right before quarantine take us to Nebula in a rocket? I said, it was just my journey to the planet of gods, a divine intervention. Just a mantra, I said, for the monsters in my head. Kept reliving, but we true and living. Like 3 supermen then, he said, who you kidding? That was a beautiful listening. Clan came on and music was hitting. They did 4th chamber while I talked to strangers about his divorce and child support papers. Gotta restrain in court for his anger. On the cross cause of haters. Asgos finish up with the black suede while it dawn. They look around, I'm not on. They search backstage and I'm gone. March finish the set, play the next song. Play the next. Nobody would remember. He hardly was a member. But the gods was his avengers. With the bars, always an inventor. From kindergarten to jobs at the center. From the mini mart, parking cars for the winter. Kept a penny jar. What's the odds I get injured? Dreams of a football star was hindered. My lovers died, my brother's demise. My first son arrived in September. Virgo. No more pop locking like a turbo. Stopping in Stockton in my circles. Metanetsa, love was eternal. Ancestors, embrace her. Sword in my dreams like Jacob. Wrestle with the devils before I wake up. Or was that an angel in flames who renamed you? Kill a priest to join the Wu-Tang school. Say to them, oh son of man, now children go in the land. Now I'm gonna send them 5 deadly venoms.
Freak out, yo!
Yeah, ma. Ma, say what up.
Huh?
Say what up.
Say what?
Say what's up. Ma, you look like grandma.
Oh, you looking at me now?
What evidence do you offer that proves, in essence, that your group really is the chosen group?
Well, it's not so much our group as such as it is from a historical point of view. When one simply goes into the Bible, the book that everyone uses in the Tanakh, and you go into the 9th and the 10th chapter of Genesis, you find the lineage or the historical line of the people who now populate the earth. You'll find that Ham was one of the sons of Noah. Ham had 4 sons, Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, Put, which is Libya, Cush, which is Ethiopia, and Canaan, which is Israel. Well, it would be impossible to have 3 black sons and 1 white son. So same father, same mother, historically is just sound. Egypt is northeast Africa. The children of Israel lived 430 years in ancient Egypt. They just simply walked across the desert. They went from the Sinai and land of Goshen to the land of Canaan.
But Jews, as we traditionally know Jews, only because we're not as familiar with your group, say that they are the chosen people. And now you're saying that your group, your community is the chosen people.
Well, one will know the children of God by their deeds and not by their words. You know the tree by the fruit that it bears. We're not judging people on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character and what they're doing for the world. You see, there are those in South Africa who are now calling themselves Afrikaners, and they come out of British, and they come out of the Netherlands, and they come out of Germany. If we only go by what one calls themselves, then that's no way to determine that.
So then are you disavowing the heritage of the Jews who are outside of your community?
I'm not disavowing the heritage of anyone. I'm just affirming the heritage of black people in America as being the descendants of the true children of God, or the Hebrew Israelites, you see. So those who are saying that they are the sons and the daughters of Abraham, we say, bring forth your works.
Okay, we're going to...
Bring forth your works, all right? Peace and blessings to the family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. It's your host, Knowledge Born Alive. We are here for another hour of power with the Prince. It becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some and to others and welcome back to his home away from home, a visionary, a strategist, one who operates with the utmost integrity and operates with the utmost sincerity towards the true liberation and salvation and restoration of black people here and African people across the globe. I speak on none other than the Crown Prince himself, my ambassador, okay? And the ambassador for true liberators in the cause of African people. Crown Prince Yosef Asasiel ben Israel is here. Okay. Shalom to my brother. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, brother. First and foremost, giving all honor and praise to the Holy One of Israel in the Hebraic language. And I could communal and national orientation. We identify that one God as Yah, Yahweh, or Yah Yisrael. We thank him for his anointed spiritual leadership in the form of his excellency Ben Ami. We thank him for our current leadership, our holy princes, our holy ministers, crown brothers and sisters, and every man and woman on this planet striving for righteousness. I want to further thank Almighty God for my personal father. That verse, that voice that you just heard so eloquently articulate our position as then and will forever be the holy and great ambassador, Prince Asasiel ben Israel, Shagrir Hagadol, which translates to the great and holy ambassador. And I'm forever grateful for the womb that I was blessed enough to come through, and that's my dear mother, Angel Muhammad, a faithful follower and student of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So, brother, I want to greet you again. I'm always humbled to be in your presence, to be forth on this illustrious, powerful platform, and to have an hour to communicate our position and our love for black liberation to your wonderful audience. So I greet you back, brother, in the words of peace. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom. So you answered the first question, but I want to ask, for you growing up in this culture, in the best of both worlds sort of position, what was it like to hear said words ascribed to your father, and what did it mean to you then versus what does it mean to you now? Is there a contrast? Is there something in regards to that?
Absolutely, it's a contrast because maturity hadn't set in yet. And so hearing the attributes of God be attributed to my father did not resonate in the way then as it does now. Now I understand the meaning because I can attribute those beautiful words and those attributes of Almighty God to my father, and I can verify it through his works. And I can also see the conditions, the horrific conditions that black African people face globally that would necessitate the Holy One of Israel, the God of creation, the God of our fathers, to function in the form of man and intervene in our affairs in the form of man, to bring a respite from the murder and the death and the devastation that we've been suffering for 400 plus years, but also to see the renewal of the mind, the renewal of the spirit, the renewal of the flesh, that we will begin to become Yah's children again, God's children again, and then come back to our natural selves. So as a child, I did not know. I knew it was something special just by the reverence and deference that my father would receive wherever he would go. And I knew that my father was a prince. And, I knew that had weight because everybody wasn't called Prince. Matter of fact, the only other person I knew was Prince Charles at the time, and Prince, a wonderful, great musician and entertainer. But, I knew it was still a difference in between those being called prince and my father, that they did so with another level of respect that at that youthful time of my life, I just could not fully comprehend and understand. But now, brother, sitting at his feet, being a student of my father, being a student of our nation, being a student of our nations and our history. Oh, I think I understand now. And I'm so grateful that he prepared and trained me in the way that he did so that his work as the ambassador for our nation, for the liberation of black people globally, can be continued with a level of precision that wouldn't be done otherwise. Because it's one thing to watch a man and to try to copy and emulate, and you can have the spirit, but it's going to be some differences. You know what I mean? But it's another thing to watch the man and be inspired and have the spirit, but then also have the hands-on training so you can see firsthand what to do, what not to do, what to stay away from, what to go rush into. You know what I mean? What has already been done, what was fool's gold, so to speak, and then you can move with another level again of precision that now saves you time. And I think I said on your platform, I know I said on your platform, one of the greatest things a parent can do is prepare you for a time where they won't be present, whether that's physically, meaning they have made transition, or they just not present at that particular moment, that you need to lean on their wisdom and guidance to get you through. And though my father is not physically present no more, because he trained me, brother, so very thoroughly and well, he is very much present. Because when I think I'm a fool, or be a fool rather, or cause myself to err, I hear that little spirit, that accusing, that self-accusing spirit saying, no, 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 go this way. And I submit, because the greatest form of worship and the greatest form of honor is obedience. And so I try my best, brother, to be obedient to my father and his teaching. So I can emphatically say that absolutely there's a difference from then and now. And as I'm sure it will be even a greater difference from what I believe I know now and then what may be 20 years from now, because as I continue to develop and mature into those roles and responsibilities, life would have taken me to a different place where now I can see at a greater level and understand at a deeper level that which my father was teaching and showing us.
Indeed. I don't know if I want to ask what age, but what was the point in your development where you began to know with a surety that the path that you are being prepared for and on, from a cultural perspective, from your mother and from your father, was for you?
Scripture says that the Creator gives us understanding in measures. And so I say that not to give a cheap response, brother, but it's so many different points in my life that I can reference as a period of time where understanding came and what I believe to be revelation on what was my life's purpose. I would probably say, from a personal standpoint, it would be 2015, roughly 11 years ago, where I went to Israel to spend a couple of weeks to get away and just kind of do my yearly trip. And I ended up staying there for 3 months. And for the first 30 days, brother, I did not speak to my father once. And quite naturally, he was calling and I wouldn't answer. And he would call my brother who was living there. And I said, I'll call him back and I'll get back to him. And after about 30 days, it might have been exactly 30 days. No. It was exactly 28 days. It was an actual month. It was actually 4 weeks of 4 weeks consisting of 7 days. It was 28 days. I remember that now. And I called my father, and he lit in my butt. Why haven't I heard from you? Why? So I told him the reason why. I apologized first and foremost, but I said something I had to do. And so he listened when I said that. I said, after the first few days of me being here, I had to see if what I wanted to do with my life, and that is following your footsteps, Father, was for me, or was it for me wanting to please you or make you proud? That my faith was of my own volition versus your profound impact and presence that is so powerful. It's like a gravitational pull that you just get sucked up into his orbit. You know what I mean? So I had to distinguish that which was his and that which was mine. For I would come to realize later is one and the same because it's all continuity. But still, I had to, for myself, accept that this is my mission as his son. Not separate from him, but it's my mission as his son that still has to function with his own life experiences. And I said, I needed to go through this journey traveling, because those 28 days I traveled all throughout Israel, places I had never been up until that point. I had been coming since 2008 was the first time. But this particular time, that particular first 28-day period, I traveled to the north, to the south. And I said I had to do a spiritual investigation to see that if this was mine. And so I needed that time, Abba, Father, to verify for myself without your words, your conversations coloring my thoughts and my opinions. So he's dead silent. And so I paused and he said, so what did you come up with? I said, I've never been more sure about anything else in my life. This is what I want to do. And I thank you for your sacrifice. I thank you for your commitment. I thank you for your obedience. I thank you for all that you have given all of us, but as your son who will keep your mission alive. This is what I'm telling him, brother, as a young man. I wasn't a kid, but a young man. It ain't me talking. It's the Spirit of God talking through me. And I ain't being spooked. I'm saying, but that's what he had already put in me as a child. That's what my mother had put in me as a child. So I'm talking back to him as himself. I'm saying, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep your mission going. But I want you to know that I got it. I understand. And I'm sure understanding would increase as time passes. But I used to think, now I know. And I can, as you can imagine, as a father and as a son, Brother Knowledge Born Allah, what that did for him and how he felt. That's, we can say at least that he wasn't cussing me out anymore on the phone. But that level of spiritual growth and courage was indicative of his life's mission. Because from the very outset, and I think we stopped last time on his conversation with His Excellency Ben-Ami when he asked him, how do you know it's time? And His Excellency Ben-Ami responded with, because we're doing it. And from that point, he never had any doubt or reservation about his journey, though he did not have the information or the experience to substantiate a lot of the ventures and risks that he would ultimately take, the sacrifices he would make. He knew at that moment that the Spirit of God had resonated with such simplicity in those words that he needed no other convincing. And I would say that he felt that in me when I shared with him my experience and my reason and rationale. So I would say that, brother, that would be probably the most obvious for me point of, okay, this is what I know is for me. But again, when he made transition, it was another level. You know, even in this last 6 months, really this last year, but I would say even intensifying these last couple of months, it's other levels. And what I'm referring to is our last trip that we made to Israel after the ballistic missile hit. Like, you get these points where you know, okay, I'm being called to do something I'm not even in control of no more. You know, I'm in like this period right now where I'm talking to very few people, but I'm talking to the multitudes as it relates to those who are in the ancestral realm, but who have left through their deep work and knowledge and their life story and experiences. I'm talking to the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I'm talking to His Excellency Ben Abi. I'm talking to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm talking to Sergeant Folk Kwame Nkrumah. I'm talking to Dr. Amos Wilson. I'm talking to Frantz Fanon. I'm talking to on and on and on. I'm studying history thoroughly and completely because I want to make sure that I listen to those who have done the work so that I don't foolishly go forward and think that I'm operating of my own volition, of my own understanding, that for my success to truly have any impact on my family and our global Black family, that I got to understand that I am standing on the shoulders of those who've already went forth. And so as I continue to help and be a representative of my father and my nation, I'm doing so understanding what he learned very early, that it's going to take the complete knowledge of the total Black experience to usher in this new world order.
Side note question.
Please.
It may be the culminating situation. How do you personally reconcile the burden and the pain of loving our people more than they hate themselves?
For me, it's twofold. Personally, it's the experience of birthing children and the innocence and the genuine purity of a newborn child, especially of a Black child, that does something to your heart where you will give your life to preserve that innocence. And I say that because that's how I see our people in totality, you know, even in our decadent and destitute state, spiritually, mentally, physically. That innocence, that purity, that connection to the Creator is still present. So that's part of it. The other part I would say is being familiar with the history of our people and the process in which we were made the way that we are. We were not naturally, based on all of my research, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we were not natural haters of ourselves or of kind. That was a process that we had undergone that has lifted us to the point that this is what has become commonplace. But it was a time, and it wasn't a time so long ago, relatively speaking, that we knew and we had the cultural norms to love each other, to protect each other, to uplift and empower one another. No, that was our lived experience. And so now it has been inverted to something that is completely diametrically opposed to that, that still resides in us, because you can see that even, I live on the south side of Chicago. I've been in some of the, like you, brother, we've been in the worst of the worst in Chicago and outside of the country, right? Like, I've been in Soweto, I've been in the hoods in South Africa, I've been in the hoods of Ghana and Accra. Like, I've been in those hoods, real talk, brother. And you already know, we done been Bankhead, we done been, Terry Towns, they call it out here, they call it No Limit now, but over the east side of Chicago, what they call the Wild Hunters, the south side of Chicago. I've been on Crenshaw. I've been in, when you be in these places that have such a bad rap as it relates to the criminal behavior of our people, and then you see the love that our people actually have for one another, when you especially come in a certain way, that even if they thought they was on something wrong, you can always find those. But for the genuine number of us you see the love of black people. You see a people that's truly desirous of changing their condition, just don't have the knowledge or the information to do so. And so when I experienced that, brother, I was like, nah, I can't give up on my people. Absolutely not. Because I know we've been taught, so teaches the most honorable Elijah. How do you know God exists? Every time I see a black man or woman, I'm looking at God, right? Like, I know that to be true because I know what the black man can do. I know when he has knowledge of self, what he turns into. You know what I'm saying? I seen the so-called most thuggish guys save people out of burning cars and buildings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen God in our people. So it's as easy as it is for us to say, forget it and to give up on our people. For me, with those experiences, no understanding of being a father and seeing our children and being around those newborn, understanding the history and how we were made into this way, and then being in environments where I'm supposed to see the worst of the worst and can still see God being displayed on a daily basis. I can't give up. And then you add that and marry that with how I was trained and taught. No, it's impossible for me personally. And so I do my best to try to convey those aspects of my experience and other people experience, though they may not see what they, or may not understand what they see rather. And I try to communicate it in a way where they can value that which they are and that which their brother and sister is. And so that they can have a new respect and reverence for the black life. And so that's why I can love my people irrespective to their lack of love for self.
Wonderful answer. I want to play 2 clips if I could.
Please.
One you sent me and the other that kind of set the tone.
Yes, sir.
Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Alternatives. I'm your host, Brother Baruch, and this is a program where we offer information about spirituality that you might not find in mainstream America. Today, we're blessed to have with us none other than Ben Ami, the anointed spiritual leader of the African Hebrew Israelites. And before we go into this interview, I'd like to give you a brief historical review on what this brother represents. First off, he represents a body of over 3,500 people that have journeyed outside of America and traveled to Israel to reestablish the kingdom of God. These people have established a model community free of crime, free of violence, free of the nutritional and other biological problems that our people face here in the United States of America. We are blessed this evening to have Ben Ami in our studios. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share what I refer to as the good news for our people. And I feel, considering the circumstances that they find themselves in, I feel that some good news should be very, very welcome to them.
Indeed. And when we speak about good news, when we look at the world around us, here in the United States, there in the Northeast Africa, or some call the Middle East, what good news do you have to offer? What good news do you have to bring to us about the reality of your community that might make us feel better about ourselves and what we might need to do as a people?
Well, first of all, I feel that we need to reassess the direction of our struggle. My being here at this time is an attempt to change the direction of the struggle of our people from one that is secular, political, and economic to one that is spiritual and redemptive. Mm-hmm. Our people are quite involved in a secular struggle, but in a secular struggle, you cannot involve or invoke God into your struggle on your side. When I refer to a spiritual struggle, I'm saying that the only way that our people will find their way out of the present predicament is that if they are able to invoke God into their struggle on their side. Mm-hmm. And in order to invoke God into their struggle on their side, they're going to have to be reconciled with the fact that they will have to move to represent his best interests on this earth.
It's a great answer. And we do actually have a film clip of a program that you spoke on here in Washington, D.C. In just a minute, we're going to break away to that. Brother Ben-Ami, your trek outside of America back in the 60s, during the turmoil of the 60s, can you explain to us why?
Well, first of all, I would like to share a little bit of our history with you. And from that history, you'll be able to determine that we, and the words that were spoken, in fact, set that turmoil in motion in the 60s. It was in February of 1966, and I had a vision, and the angel Gabriel came to bring the word of God that it was time to start the journey back to the promised land and to establish the long-awaited kingdom of God. And the year of the Exodus would be 1967. Certainly, I pondered, I prayed, I meditated as to how I would in fact convince any significant number of our people to leave America en route to the promised land, a place that in fact did not really exist for us as a geographical location, in less than 2 years. As a result of those words that were spoken, finally, to the members of the congregation, and after that, on every opportunity, it was a result of those words that the great riots in 1966, the cities were burning. We are absolutely sure at this time that the question that I had pondered, how was I to convince a significant number of our people to leave America, that the events were set in motion by me having faith in those words that were given unto me by the angel. 1967, the great riots continued, the length and breadth of America, in fact, creating the environment which would give the impetus for a significant number of our people to hear my call for the Exodus and to start the journey back to the promised land. As the word of God had come, the Exodus did begin in 1967. Under the smokescreen of the great riots, the redemptive struggle for our people was set in motion by the Holy One of Israel.
Members of the Youth International Party, Yippies they called themselves, converged on Chicago. They said they were there to protest the war, poverty, racism, and other social ills. Some of them were also determined to provoke a confrontation, to draw attention from the convention to the streets. Mayor Richard Daley vowed to keep it peaceful, even if it took force to keep the peace. He was backed by 12,000 police, 5,000 National Guardsmen, 7,500 regular Army troops. Hundreds of marchers and dozens of policemen were injured. Restraint was absent on both sides. This was later called a police riot. During that frightful week, the demonstrators repeatedly tried to march on the site of the convention, the stockyards. Repeatedly, they were forced back. But even inside the convention hall, the virus of violence was pervasive. Dan Rather and Walter Cronkite of CBS News.
Take your hands off of me. Unless you intend to arrest me, don't push me, please.
I guess that spirit was still alive.
Yes, sir. No problem, brother. We'll fight through all of that.
Right.
That's minuscule.
Right. And then right now, right?
Yes, sir.
So your thoughts?
For sure. Let me say this. For His Excellency, Ben-Ami, as he always does, articulates perfectly the condition and the reality of us as a people. And I want to take a moment to give clarity for those who may hear our spiritual leaders say that we don't practice politics or those type of things, and we don't in the way that you do. And let me start by saying this. You can sometimes hear what may be perceived as an apolitical stance. Even currently, even sometimes when we are very focused on our subject matter, we don't lean one way or the other for a number of topics and a number of reasons, essentially like the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. But let me say unequivocally, in no uncertain terms, that not only are I, not apolitical, but we are at the very core of geopolitics. Again, we don't practice politics like you. We're not voting for a white man or a Negro to lord over us. When we talk about geopolitics, let me just read you the definition of geopolitics. Geopolitics is the study of how the Earth's physical, geographical, and climate, Geopolitics is the study of how Earth's physical, geography, climate, natural resources, and demographics shape international relations, foreign policy, and state power. It is essentially how a country's location and physical environment influence its political and economic and otherwise interactions with the rest of the world. When he says that we are not political, we're not, but we are at the very core of geopolitics, because our decision to move and return out of America to Israel was us reconnecting back to a land, a physical, geographical location, understanding the greatest natural resource, our freedom and our connection to our land, language, and culture, and using that to shape the power first of our nation and then ultimately of the whole world. Our political posture is that of the liberation of our people and all things that orient us to that reality. So even as we go through this history, it's important that we look at it through the proper frame, through the proper lens. Our coming to Israel was a sign of what Black people, those of us with African ancestry, could do once we became fully committed to our freedom and, to the best of our ability, fully reject the colonizing efforts of the Euro-Gentile mind. We, the original Hebrew Israelites stationed in Jerusalem, more than any other group, organization, or movement, moved from the periphery of geopolitics to its very center. We were not a group of recalcitrant Negroes seeking acceptance or equality amongst our enemy. We were and are still an emerging nation doing everything we could, whether we were conscious of it or not, as a people, and to the extent of those of us in leadership who were conscious of it as well, to become a nation unto ourselves. And we did that because we understood becoming a nation was the requisite step towards a new world order. A new world order in which global white European hegemony would no longer have power over the planet. So when we talk about geopolitics, we're talking about a people who would reverse the 400 to 2,000 year European hegemony with a people who would know peace again, a people who could know justice again, a people who could be in harmony with nature, who could put the ecosystems and the life support systems of the planet back in balance. We would again reclaim our dominion over the life support systems of the planet. So we weren't seeking to control or conquer. We were seeking to bring back balance. So that's what we mean by geopolitics, meaning that we would be one with our land. We would be one God. We would be one as a people, and we would bring balance and harmony back to the planet. That's the spiritual solution that we need. That's the spiritual solution that His Excellency Ben-Ami was putting into the planet and was establishing under the auspices of the Kingdom of Yah, the Kingdom of God on earth. So when you heard Mayor Daley in 1968 said that, look at the deceptive language. Look at the satanic language. He says, we would keep peace, or we would bring about peace even if we have to use force. Those things seem diametrically opposed. I mean, you would bring war to bring peace. You would kill to bring peace. You weren't talking about peace. You was talking about subjugation. You was talking about domination. You were talking about beating a people into submission. That's not peace. That's conquest. So we understood that we could no longer have peace on the planet with warmongers in charge. We could no longer have a place that we could seek justice as long as those who were not just the purveyors of war, but those who found joy in bringing war, those who found joy in producing murder and criminality, those who found great pleasure in conquering the earths and the people of this planet. We say those had to be removed from power, and a new people had to come. A new world order had to come into existence. So I want us to understand that that was the frame in which we were establishing our nation, our kingdom, because we wanted to reorient not just the thinking of our people, those who were the members of the original Hebrew Israelite nation of Jerusalem, the African Hebrew Israelite nation of Jerusalem, but the planet. It was time for a new world order. I believe in the nation, they call it the end of the 6,000-year rule and the coming of the 7,000 year, where now God would have dominion again on the planet, that He would establish a nation of righteousness and justice and equality, that the black man can know freedom. Well, we were just doing our part. And so, again, when you look at what we were doing, we weren't trying to convert nobody. We were changing the whole paradigm of how the planet was functioning. And that was, in essence, what we started 60 plus years to do. And by God's grace and mercy, with the power of our God and the motivation and the leadership of our fathers, we will continue that to this very second, and we will make sure that the mission is completed and that our aims and our goals and our aspirations will be manifested so that generations after us will be able to benefit from our efforts and our toils.
Two clips, your response, and then I got a little something up my sleeve for you, Crown Prince.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
To give life. But the voice of Elijah coming through me is giving life now to a nation.
The messenger's legacy is now no longer limited to America.
We see the whole black world now standing up and being respected for taking a stand. And it is time now that our people in America understand that it must do that. So it's clear which direction this conference is taking. It is no longer a conference of groups. It is a nation of people coming together. I don't bring an ideology that relates to Hebrewism. Minister Muhammad related to, he does not bring an ideology of Islam or Christianity. We have outgrown those labels. We have lived, we have developed, we have studied, we have learned all the mistakes of our predecessors. And we know the one thing that is necessary now is the you and I-ism. That is the key of the future of the black man, black woman in America. And the destiny of the black world rests solely with the direction in which the black man, black woman in America take. The international ramifications that Jesse Jackson spoke to with the PLO question goes way beyond that. Way beyond that. Because once we involve ourselves with a solution outside of America, then there are keys that are not controlled by the enemies of our people within the confines of America. If Africa is the continent that is richest and represents 80% of the world's known resources, and if black America is that nation of African people that represent the intellectual resources of the world, it's a perfect marriage that must take place. And this is what we're talking about developing here. As we organize nationally, we are organizing internationally. For those are the keys for the total survival of our people. So this is what we bring to this conference.
Mrs. Malcolm X, first I want to thank you for talking with us under these trying circumstances, and your husband did not die in vain in this cause and struggle. During the course of his lifetime and his career, did he ever discuss with you the aims of this new organization he founded last year, the Organization for Afro-American Unity?
Well, yes. In particular, one of the aims was internationalizing the problem of the Afro-American in this country. He felt that as long as in a few states we were begging for cups of coffee or things of this sort, that we would not receive rights all over. Just as the white man is able to go all over the face of the earth and receive the same dignity and respect in one country as he does in the other, the Afro-American or the African, wherever he goes, receive indignation and disrespect. And he felt by internationalizing the problem, by helping the Africans, and in turn the African helping us to get our rights, that a black man, an Afro-American or an African, could go all over the face of the earth and receive the same dignity, the same respect as any white man. And I think that this was one of the aims, and it was a very good aim.
Your thoughts, sir?
We had matured to a point as a people, and it took time, that our condition, the very destruction or attempted destruction of the black soul, was achieved through a confederacy of global conspirators. We were not just victim of America, we were victim, those of us who ended up on the shores of North America, we were victim of so many others. Britain, Portugal, Spain, France, Germany, you can go on and on and on. Those who are familiar with the Berlin Conference of 1884-85 know that there was over 15 nations there. Those who didn't even get their part of the pie, so to speak, initially, such as Russia, such as Sweden, such as America, who was there. I say that because we have matured as a people to realize that to reverse the global conspiracy to destroy all things black, all things African, that we would have to regain a level of unity, and a coalition had to be established that we too understood that we must become a global power. And so you heard it with Queen Mother Betty Shabazz and how she articulated the position of her late husband. You heard it in what my father had clearly articulated, Prince Asasiel, at that conference, I believe, of Savior's Day weekend in 1981. How his point was not isolating his position to that of just a Hebrew, but seeing how that in effect that we could be able to align for the global liberation of Black people, what we all can contribute to the advancement of our people, what can we add, and how we can unify on that which we most desperately need, which is our freedom, our sovereignty, and independence. That's the answer. And it seems that if we have in the last couple of years have lost that motivation or that understanding, but there's still a core group of us who understand that irrespective to all of the clamor, all of the dissenting positions that we have assumed as Black people, almost from a disposition of defeated disposition, that we must be clear-minded and we must be circumspect that, again, if we do not, before we even get to unity, align as Black people and understand the global power that we possess and that we must possess, we will never know freedom, not in no genuine sense. And so those of us who felt that we shouldn't have went to Israel, that's fine. But you never hear nobody say that about any other people. And I'm not saying that it's a measuring contest, but it's almost that we're afraid of our own success. Because if you see Black people, irrespective of you thinking they should have did this or not, but they're able to show, in our case, 60 years of being a people set apart and unto themselves that have done everything in their power to contribute to Black liberation globally, who never left the communities in America, who went and established themselves in Africa and developed trade, developed commerce, developed relationships from the common villager all the way up to the presidency of certain independent African nations. When you talk about the way that we reverse the identity of what was considered up until our arrival, that Israel was just a place that Europeans resided and that no Black people ever lived there, nor should they ever live there. And we destroyed that fallacy. Not only did we unearth the Black Arabs and Bedouins who've been there since time immemorial, we showed through our experience that not only did we belong there, but those people that I just mentioned was waiting for us. And so they did everything they could to help and aid and assist us when everybody else abandoned us. Both Caucasian Israeli, European Israeli, and those Arabs that have those European phenotypes. It was our own people. So my point in saying that is that the power of freedom comes with maturity. And maturity does not come in isolation, because if you're not exposed to the realities and the complexities and the diversities of the world, you limit yourself. And not only do you limit yourself, you put yourself under such constraints that you bring on your own demise. And I pray that not just in this particular hour, but every hour that we get to speak and every time that I get to communicate with any of my people, that I'm communicating hopefully clearly enough that we have to grow up past our limited understanding. When a man or a woman comes before you with a true, genuine, authentic desire to help Black people, and they have something of substance and they have their lived experience to substantiate their claims, it is not intelligent for you to look to refute everything that they're saying before you even hear what they're saying, because they're keys in their message and in their lived experience that can unlock the solutions to your problems. And if you're so damn worried about trying to prove yourself right in your own despair in your own decadence that you don't even listen to truth when it's right in front of your face, you deserve to be a slave. And I hate to say that, but God dang it, you do. So excuse the passion, brother.
Not excused. It's our power.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? It's our power for a reason. So I want to play something for you as proof of everything that was revealed, and then I'll yield to you for closing remarks and anything you want to put out to the family as we get ready to close. But I want to play a snippet of this for you, because we heard what you had to say and what people in the kingdom had to say about what it meant to leave America and the necessity of it. So let's hear what somebody who we love and who we honor, I hope, had to say about her time spent in the kingdom.
Yes, outfits. My grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. Yeah. I love you so much. Love you. Our experience this morning is historical. For me to be standing here with you in Jerusalem, North Africa, where you originally came from. I have so much admiration for what you have done, for who you are here. I am short of words to express the gratitude, not only of me. I'm standing here on behalf of the mothers of South Africa, yes, on behalf of the children of South Africa who perished in 1976, fighting for this freedom I see in each and every one of your faces today. You epitomize the liberation we fought so hard for 342 years in South Africa. And you have attained what we fought for within this very short space of time, because you are God's chosen children. Hallelujah.
There's so much more to that. We would be here for like another half hour, just maybe 2 hours, just going through what was said.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get your thoughts on Winnie Mandela. May God be pleased with her and her works forever, and may the work that she has done and is doing through our people around the globe continue. So your thoughts on Queen Mother Winnie Mandela?
Words, as you stated, won't be adequate enough to express the love and the reverence and the heartfelt honor that we have for Queen Mother Winnie Mandela. Her life, her commitment, not just to her husband at the time, Nelson Mandela, before he became president, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, the great revolutionary who was arrested and would spend 27 years in prison. Whatever you felt about how things ended up, You have to honor first the man who was able to inspire in that woman such a level of resilience and commitment. Again, not just to him, but to the movement, to the people of South Africa, and to the aim to see liberation for all black people globally. That she, in his physical absence, irrespective to the threat of death, the fear of imprisonment, and every other attack that the white man tries to use to discredit, discourage, or to destroy the desire for freedom, she persevered. And so I say that because if there's anybody qualified to assess the work that we have accomplished as a people, it would be her. If it's anybody that's qualified who's seen the horrors of white supremacy through the apartheid of South Africa, where some of the most horrific crimes against humanity were committed, it would be Queen Mother Winnie Mandela. If it's anybody who could, with any accuracy, draw the parallels to our time in America under Jim Crowism, under the antebellum South, antebellum slavery, chattel slavery, the wicked, wicked ways of the European in America, it would be Queen Mother Winnie Mandela. So her words hold a level of weightiness that most, unless you know her story, couldn't imagine or understand. So when we say that what she did for us was one of the most beautiful, not just acknowledgments, not even a validation in the sense that what she said gave us credibility, but it was for us a reorientation of how to see the oneness of our struggle and to be able to tie into, with all of the energy, with all of the compassion, with all of the love, with all of the energy and expertise that one would possess to see our people free globally. And even though it was not one who, from our own works, produced, she seen that she was no different than us. She showed the oneness of God and the oneness that we should strive to be as black people globally. And I'm not talking about no fake kumbaya party, but talking about those of us who are conscious enough to know that our unity is the solution. But we can't unify unless we align on truth. And so Queen Mother Winnie Mandela did all of that, you know, in those statements. And like you said, it was much longer. But it was another part that she said. She said that the work that we were able to produce qualifies us. Matter of fact, it positions us to be the spiritual Mecca for Africa. The diamond of Africa, Queen Mother Winnie Mandela, said that Northeast Africa, Dimona, Israel, was not only Africa, but it was the spiritual headquarters for the New World Order. So I'm going to reiterate these words. We were doing everything we could to become a nation because becoming a nation was the requisite step toward a new world order. A new world order in which global European white hegemony would no longer have power over the planet. Therefore, we could seek to reestablish a new world order in which the planet could finally, after 400 to 2,000 years of white European hegemony, could know peace again, could know justice again, in which the ecosystems could be in harmony again with the planet and have a group of people govern the planet who would be in harmony with nature. We were that people. We were the vanguard that represented the Messianic age that would reestablish that new world order. And so, again, as we go through this history, brother, week after week, I always want to continue to put that out front, that What we are in the process of right at this moment is a global reorder. And as long as we possess the minds and the hearts and desires and the energy to see that come into fruition, and we keep our actions and our motives aligned with that objective, we will see victory. Matter of fact, we've already seen it. That's victory. Queen Mother proved that we already won. And we just acting the rest of it out. And so that's what I see and that's what I hear when I hear those words. Amongst so much other, brother. But that's what, on the short end, what I hear and see when I hear our Queen Mother Winnie Mandela so eloquently articulate our purpose and our presence for the global African family.
Final words, final thoughts, final reflections, anything you want to reiterate?
I'm just grateful, brother. I'm grateful for my father and my mother. I'm grateful for His Excellency Benami. I'm grateful for all the men and women who have sacrificed. I'm grateful for those leaders in today's time that are leading and guiding us. Those leaders of our nation who we're going to have on too to help with this conversation, such as Prince Amiel and those great men, and even sisters too. But all of this wouldn't be possible without the creator of the heavens and the earth. So I'm forever grateful for the God of our fathers for allowing this time to be experienced for this generation. And I can be a witness and a participant in the changing of the guard and the coming in of a new world order, brother. And I want to use that language specifically because I really want to orient the listening audience that that's what's taking place. We study and we read about how the European and every other people have conquered, from Genghis Khan to whoever, the Ottoman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire, West and East. But when it comes to black people determining their own future and their own reality, we get mute. And I'm saying it's time out for that. We're going to blow that trumpet and scream it from the rooftops. It's time for God's men and women to know peace and to know power again. And we in that dispensation of time, brother. So I thank you, brother, Knowledge Born Allah, for not compromising, for not for one instant having a dog and pony show when it so easily can be done for money and for likes and for fame, but keeping your show one of the most, if not the last, authentic platforms where truth can be disseminated and we can have these genuine, serious conversations about the liberation of our people, and that you too are an instrument that is being used to awaken the sleep, those who are spiritually and mentally dead, and bring them back to life with truth and the example of what it takes to be obedient to that truth. So thank you, brother.
Thank you and your family also. You understand what fortitude means and resiliency. When we were on operations, I would always say, I'm here for the duration. So whatever that appointed time is, that's what it is. And when you're in it, you're in it. So I'm here for the duration, not for the season. Fair weather never was an inclination for me. The duration is. So whatever come along with that, rain, sleet, hail, snow, earthquakes, understanding that and rolling responsibility for the yesteryears, for the now, and for the tomorrow, and then ultimately for the forever of our people. A little rain, snow, earthquakes, and it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. But a qualifier and disqualifier for some. So I look forward to another hour of power with you. Crown Prince, and may the saga continue. Till next week, y'all. Peace. Blessings. Shalom. Shalom.
I think the important thing for people to understand is that in America we have an education system that does not speak to the needs of African children. We want to be able to be who we are, talk how we talk, walk how we walk, live how we want to live, and be producers and providers for our children in the future. We want to be African.
When the way the world is on your shoulders, tag the power within and then you say, no, I can make it. Try to consume you. They can do what they want, cause I will never stop drawing, and we can make it African. From ancient love and family, we gave the world humanity. We made this world a sacred place. We gave the world philosophy. We gave the world its chemistry. We found a world of time and space. Cause I will never stop drawing, and we can make it African. Gaining knowledge yourself, I'm glad I'm African. Although I look at the world, I see what's happening. We the people who was taken from a shining culture, blew the noses of our ancient representing sculpture. Capture us with the tactic called divide and conquer. Men and women separated, treated with no honor. Wrote the middle passage, treated worse than animals. Stacked on top of each other, somehow we made it through. The pain and suffering, they torture us in slavery. It's quite amazing, we stood up for natural bravery. Look at our people, the conditions we are living in. It's time to battle this world, it's time to shine again. When the way the world is on your shoulders, tag the power within and then you say, no, I can make it African. When the pain in this world try to consume you, they can do what they want, cause I will never stop drawing, and we can make it African. We're in this together, for better or worse, through the dark and the light. We're in this together, standing tall, we won't quit, and I tell you we can make it, yes we can. We're African. When the way the world is on your shoulders, tell the power within and then you say, no, I can make it African. When the pain in this world try to consume you, they can do what they want, cause I will never stop drawing, and we can make it African. When the way the world is on your shoulders, tag the power within and then you say, no, I can make it African. When the pain in this world try to consume you, they can do what they want, cause I will never stop drawing, and we can make it African.
And so what hip-hop music has done is served as an alternative communication mechanism and given African children in this country some of the only understanding of African history that they'll ever receive.
There was a period of time in this country after Reconstruction where African people owned a lot of land, owned a lot of businesses, and did a lot of things. But what happened was the American government, the Ku Klux Klan, and other organizations organized in smashing that effort. So it's not that we haven't tried to own land and have not organized businesses. It's that if you are African in America or in Latin America or in the Caribbean or in the continent, you will be hunted.